Builders, Mike Killen here from sellyourservice.co.uk, and today we are going to review $1 Million Consulting by Alan Weiss. I mentioned this on a previous video and I figured I haven't actually reviewed the book, so I figured I would go through it now. $1 Million Consulting. This is the fully revised 5th edition. I think the first one was published in like 1997 or something like that. Basically, this book is designed for any consultant who feels that they sell their time for money and how to build up $1 million consultancy business. The reason this is so important for funnel builders to read, in my opinion, is because it takes you through the process of sharing and demonstrating your skills and expertise with customers far bigger than yourself. Alan is one person and is very, very well known in the consulting space. You might argue that he owns the consultation and how to run a consultation niche. I would certainly argue it. But what he demonstrates in the book is your ability, even as a small single person business or entrepreneur with a laptop in your home office, to create an extremely wealthy and powerful business that not only charges monthly retainers, and I'll get to that in a minute, but also fees far higher than anything else that you would have previously done for a previous project. One of the big takeaways for me, in fact, there's two huge takeaways. First of all, the proposal in this book, $1 Million Consulting by Alan Weiss, is so good that I can see why people have stolen it and why people copy it and try to pass it off as their own, because it is so precise. Alan shows, I think it's like a $75,000, it might be more actually, consultation process and proposal for a project that is essentially 2 A4 pages, and here it is, $495,000, and it's basically this page, that page, that page, and a price. Like, to me, to be able to condense all of that down into a $500,000 project is outstanding. So that was the first biggest takeaway for me. So for the book alone, to understand how to write a killer proposal without actually having to deliver work, as in you don't have to physically sit down and build funnels or whatever to sell consultation, pure consultation to your customers, 100% worth worth buying just for the proposal template alone. It's on page 80, by the way. The second big thing that I took away from this is how to frame retainers. The way that Alan puts it in the book is retainers are feed paid in advance for access to your smarts. Now, he repeats that 3 times in the book. I also listened to the audio version of this, and it's interesting him saying it 3 times because it's obviously stuck. Retainers are fees paid in advance for your smarts, for access to your smarts. So what it means by that is I think a lot of people see retainers in the same way that solicitors and lawyers are paid as retainers, which is basically money paid every month, which is then deposited out of what you would spend. So if you had a $10,000 a month retainer and you use $15,000 worth of legal fees, they would only bill you for $5,000 on top. Now, we all know that lawyers are the first people to say, we're not doing any more work until you pay us again. What was interesting is that Alan, in the book, basically reframed the concept of a retainer, and he said to get access to your smarts and your intelligence, there's no reason why you can't charge $7,500 a month, or $7,500, $7,500 a month. He said some of his retainer contracts are, $45,000 for the quarter, but he'll give them a 10% discount, or $5,000 discount if they pay it in full. So the ability to go through and to build, well, he says it here, build a thriving consultancy through client acquisition and finding customers and partners and working with businesses way bigger than yourself. Absolutely outstanding. I wasn't that sold on, sounds dumb, don't judge a book by its cover, but I wasn't really sold on the cover, and I wasn't even sold particularly on the premise of the audiobook when my friend Cam, he said, oh, you've got to listen to this book or read this book, and I put it on and I was hooked instantly because it went through this story-based process of how you grow a consultancy, how you price your consultancy services. One of the interesting things he talked about is, let's say that you reckon you can do $500,000 in savings for a company. You can go into the company, work with that company, and you can deliver $500,000 in savings. Maybe they're wasting $500,000 somewhere. He said, so why shouldn't you charge $250,000 for that? They'll still save $250,000. I was like, that's a really good point. If you're going to make someone X percent, like 3 to 8% increase, you should charge the 3%. You should charge on the lower end. If you're going to make them between a 3% and an 8% increase, charge them at the 3%, you know, lowball it. He also talks a little bit about scheduling delivery, like how you deliver consultation, which is really interesting because it doesn't come until a little bit later in the book about how you deliver consulting, which I really liked because it was essentially saying how building $1 million consultancy is not dependent on your delivery process up front. You've got to have a great delivery process. You've got to over-deliver on any promises that you've made to the customer. You've got to have genuine value there. You've got to understand that you're helping them. You've got to understand that this is their business and their life. And essentially what you're asking them to do is to invest in their own business. But the delivery method has got nothing to do with your ability to sell consulting to your customers. Something that I particularly liked about the book as well is how it talks through that you don't need to have employees. He even goes through the two different kind of methods of having an employee-based business or a single person-based business, the pros and cons, how you would run both of them. If you are at all interested in adding to your repertoire as a funnel builder, or even I say that you should have consulting in all of your projects anyway, I highly recommend checking this book out. It talks about all sorts of things like creating your niche, creating your market, who you're going after, how to actually consult, how you find customers. It goes through plenty of case studies, subcontracting, outsourcing, and then at the end, basically Alan goes through a bunch of questions that are essentially like, what has been your major accomplishment in this profession? Which is the like in the appendix, like he goes through interviews and talks to people and asks the questions that are important to them and questions in the book that maybe he couldn't answer. So he goes over these tips within the book. I absolutely love this book. He talks a lot about like the transformation of like a business and a customer that you're going to take them on, and ultimately that's what they're buying, and you don't have to do the work. You can be there as a consultant, help people strategize, come up with the terms that work for their business, and then get them to implement, or you can absolutely help them find someone who can implement it for you. So yeah, $1 Million Consulting by Alan Weiss. This is the 5th edition, which I believe was published in 2015. I think the first one was published in 1995. Alan Weiss is ALANWEISS. You can get it on Amazon. I think it was like 11 quid for me. The audiobook is also very, very good. They have got an audio version of this version of the book, of the 5th edition. Let me know if you've read the book, guys. By the way, let me know in the comments below if you've read $1 Million Consulting by Alan Weiss. And let me know what you think of it, or if you're going to go ahead and buy it and check it out. I'd love to know. Let me know in the comments, and let me know if you've read the proposal parts, because that to me was like mind-blowing. We've got a proposal and stuff, and I might even kind of try and rework it a little bit and credit Alan, because you know he wrote the proposal, so I like it a lot. In the meantime, guys, thank you very much for your time. I am Mike from sellyourservice.co.uk. I've probably got a couple of videos either side of my head if you want to continue this. I've got another book that I can review, and maybe something to do with on pricing or proposals on this side. We'll have a look. Thanks very much. I'll speak to you later. I am Mike from Sell Your Service. Keep building those funnels.